Guys, today we're going to do an easy mode video that covers how to get all 5 trophy/achievements from the Division's Survival DLC mode, including the obnoxious Extract with 100 Items trophy/achievement. The main focus of this video guide is a repeatable route, one that removes as much RNG as possible, has no difficult fights, extracts with 5 or 6 sealed caches every time, and has a high chance of success against the hunter. These elements are important because we need to be able to repeat this run upwards of 20 times to complete the final trophy. Since the start of our run is always going to be here in the middle of 17th Street, that means we always want to spawn into the game somewhere in this area. If you spawn in somewhere else, just exit the match and restart. So the first thing we do once we spawn in is hit the touchpad to pull up the map, and we're going to set a waypoint marker at 17th Street between 3rd and 2nd Ave. First thing you should do is open the medicine bag that'll be in the Safehouse with you when you spawn in. Then we're going to head outside and run straight towards the marker we placed earlier.
Drop in core temperature detected.
We're not doing anything at this stage other than running towards that marker. While you can do this run co-op, I recommend you do it solo, as doing it with a friend is going to halve the number of resources you each get, but double the number of hunters you have at the end. I think it's just easier and simpler and faster to do it solo. Depending on how far you have to run, might mean you have to jump in somewhere to get warm or stand next to a fire for a little bit. That's cool, just do that, but keep running towards that marker. Incidentally, the cold issue is really a non-issue for us. You'll see very quickly we get enough clothing in these runs to not really have to worry about the cold at all. Now there's a few enemies in this area, but like I said before, we're not fighting. We're just going to run past them, take a few shots, just keep running. Once you can see the flashing red and blue lights, you know you're very close to where we need to be. And guys, we made it to our first starting location, police station. You can also see here the other locations we're going to hit on this route, and we'll keep showing the same map as we progress through this run. So head down the ramp into the basement of police station. There are enemies down here. We're not going to fight them. In fact, they're not even going to see us. We're just going to run straight to this door, swing into the door, and run right down to the back of the corridor and pick up our first gear piece. Back out of the room, then we're going to head upstairs and get our first weapon, hopefully, and some more armor pieces. Right, so once we're in here, we're going to get our armor piece. We keep everything even if we don't equip it because we can dismantle it later. Now for the first weapon, I normally hope for an LMG or at least some sort of assault rifle. I will just make do with this for the next little while. It'll see us through until we get our purple LMG a bit later in the run. One more armor piece to pick up. And now we're going to go back downstairs where those enemies were, and we're going to sneak up and get a medicine out of a medicine bag, but we're not going to fight them. So walk over here, grab the medicine bag, and then straight out of the police station. No fights needed. We're missing out on some gear when we do this. They drop some things, there's some tools we could have picked up, but we don't need it for this. Again, we want to get a nice, simple run done that was repeatable and safe. Okay, that's police station done. Where are we heading next? Well, we're going to head to a parking building, and this is the route we're going to take. Again, don't fight anybody unless you really, really need to, and we really, really don't at this stage. We're going to grab the medicine out of the medicine bag right here, and we are now at the car park. I'm going to pick up a few more medicine bags just on the outside here before we go into the car park. Much like the cold, the disease progression is really a non-issue for us in this run. We find enough medicine items on every version of this run that we can just keep popping them in and pausing that disease progression.
Core body temperature is critically low.
In fact, I had too many med kits here, so I'm going to use one so I can pick that one up. And into the car park we go. There are a couple of enemies here on the second level that we're going to go up to in a moment. But first we're going to destroy this bomb and take the electronics that are behind it. Now we head upstairs, and there will be enemies here, either on this subfloor or on this next one up here, and you can see they're up here. Okay, they're dealt with. Let's get some more loot. Always search these backpacks because there is a chance for clothing to be in them, and we want that for both keeping us warm and for that trophy to get to minus 22 degrees protection. Now we head up, grab a little more loot. And then upstairs and outside. And now we're going to get our first guaranteed clothing item in this suitcase. And this feels like a good time to point out the green arrows. If you see green arrows, that means whatever the thing is better than what you currently have equipped. Just press triangle to immediately equip it, as opposed to pressing square to loot it and then having to go and equip it later. And you can see now we're at minus 5 protection, which is a little better than where we were. And that's it for car park. I'm going to drop down this rope, and that'll put us back to where we came into car park. Then we're just going to run back to that main street that we came in on, where we picked up those medicine bags. And now we're going to look about where we're heading. We're just going to run up the road to the next location. You can see I'm at minus 8 now, which is getting better.
Body temperature.
I was going to grab that, but I saw the enemy there, and again, in the spirit of just not fighting and running, we just left that stuff there. We don't need it. We are now at our next location, the service store. Now, someone had been in here before me and looted the tools that are there and the electronics that were on this side. That is not an effective way to disarm a bomb, by the way. Don't do what I did. Shoot it instead.
Body temperature dropping below normal levels.
And now we're going up to the roof of the service area. Again, these items are always here in varying quantities each run, but they're always there, very consistent. Shoot the bomb so he can climb the ladder. And through the window, grab the gear in here.
Alert. Infection progress halted.
Again, I'm using a med kit so I can pick that one up. Now there are some enemies out here, so we're just going to duck behind some cover and take care of these. Okay, with the enemies dealt with, let's go get some more gear and potential weapons. So we're going to head up this ladder and then go grab another weapon, hopefully better than the one we've got, and another gear piece.
Temperature is now below what is required for normal metabolic function.
We're going to be heading inside here shortly. You'll note I'm fairly close to hypothermic, but again, this is the closest we get to any real danger in the entire run from the cold. I'm just going to grab these few items before we head inside. I don't really grab much in here. I grab these tools. There's a whole lot of stuff on this floor. We really don't need it. Can grab some soda and water if you need it, but otherwise head down the elevator for our next gear piece.
You are now entering a safe area. Warning, you are exiting the safe area.
As you can see, even in a run where we get crappy green pieces instead of better blue pieces, we're still going to be successful. So take what you can get and we'll dismantle what we don't use. Be careful here of the bomb on the left. Don't get too close to that door. Grab the backpack and then we're going to head outside through the door ahead of us. So on to our next location, which is clothing store. There are enemies here. Again, we're just going to run past them. We'll probably take a few shots. No big deal. Just keep running. We're going to turn right on the diagonal road and we'll be running up that diagonal road for a little while. But first, we're here now at clothing store and we're going to get some more clothes to keep us warm. Again, these briefcases are always here on every single run. The clothes in them are different and the warmth ratings are different, but there's always clothes and always fabric, unless somebody's been here before us and picked it over, which does sometimes happen. So we're now at minus 11 cold protection, so inching closer and closer to where we need to be. Do be careful of the bomb here as we cross the street and go into the electronics store. Just go through the window, not the door. Grab some electronics. And then back out the window, not the door, to exit the store. And on to our next location.
Warning. Vital signs indicate probable infection.
So here we are at our 5th stop, roof. This is actually optional. You do not need to do this one. In this run, I'm going to do it because I've got a crappy gun and I want to see if I can get something better, because there's a handful of gear pieces and weapons that we could get here. There is a fight with a couple of enemies, so there's a little bit of risk, and it adds about 5 minutes to your run. So up to you. I'm going to do it so you can see what it's like, and here we go. Across the courtyard, then up some more stairs.
Detecting lowering of core body temperature. Threat of hypothermia increased.
Now the enemies can spawn in this room in front of us, but they normally spawn outside in the courtyard through those windows as they have here. And as you can see, this fight gets a little dicey for me right at the end, but we get through it. And if we did go down, we would just use a med kit. We'd be fine. So straight out these windows is another gear piece on the right, on the ground.
Optimal levels.
There is another enemy lurking around, so I'm just grabbing stuff rather than being careful about what I might equip or not. I'm just grabbing it with square, and we'll equip it later at the top of the building here. Another gear piece here. Right now I'm just going through looking at what I picked up and deciding what I'm actually going to equip and what I'm going to not. We're going to head down the rope and we'll be back where we started before we came into this 5th detour. Now off to our 6th location. This area opens out a little bit and it can be a little bit disorientating with the snow and whatnot. Just basically head towards the buses, go between the buses, then straighten up a bit, and ahead of you you'll end up seeing some Christmas lights, and we just want to head towards the Christmas lights.
Alert. Connection temporarily stabilized.
And that flashing red light is a safe house, and that's the 6th location we're heading to. So we've really only got 2 important jobs in this safe house, although I do a little bit more here. We're going to make ourselves a 12 times scope, and we're going to make ourselves an extended mag. We can't make the mag at any later safe house, so you've got to make it here, and it's really useful to have for both an LMG and the final gun we're going to use to kill the hunter. So make the mag and make the 12 times scope. I'm also going to make a turret while I'm here because I have enough resources for that. If you don't have enough resources, you can dismantle some things and you can convert materials, your greens to blues, if that's what you needed to make it. Every run, I run with a turret on my right bumper and a support station on my left bumper. And we make the support station at the next safe house. You can't make it at this one. Don't forget to assign the skill after you've made the turret. A number of times I've gotten 5 minutes further into the run and realized I haven't assigned the skill. Again, I'm simply disassembling what I don't need here, making resources that I'll convert into a higher grade later at a later safe house. All right, on to the next location, which happens to be another safe house. We're going to run past the landmark, which we will eventually end up doing. But first, we're going to the safe house to make a purple gun, because the one I'm carrying sucks. Again, just run around those enemies. They may take a shot at you or two. Doesn't matter. Just keep running. I heard an explosion there, but decided not to be distracted and just kept going. We're now at the landmark that we will eventually go and attack after the safe house. But for now, we're just going to run past, but that's where we'll be going shortly. Again, that's where we're going to head momentarily. For now, though, past the orange construction equipment and to the safe house, which is just around the corner.
Infection imminent.
I'm going to make the purple LMG that I use and the support station in the safe house. I really should have also made the virus filter so I could go into the dark zone. I forgot to do it here, so we end up going to the landmark, cleaning that out, and then coming back here again to make the virus filter. So you can do it all at the same time if you like and avoid an extra 60 seconds or so in your run. This purple LMG is going to see us right through to the end of the game, apart from killing the hunter. So we're now going to assign that skill so we can actually use the support station when we need to. And we're going to mod the purple gun we just made with the extended mag. That's important. We need lots of ammo without having to reload. Okay, now we're going to head back to that landmark. And really, in the entire run, this is probably the most dangerous fight, more so than even the hunter. And it's not particularly dangerous. You just got to be a little bit cautious and not rush and headstrong. So I'm going to deal with these enemies real quick. They're not really part of the fight that I was talking about. They're fairly easy to get rid of.
Alert. Infection.
I'm going to head up the stairs here and grab a couple of sets of tools before we head down and really begin the fight. So my strategy here is really just to kill as many guys as I can from up here before they eventually come up and start shooting me and fireballing me. And then keep running away, keeping a little bit of distance while I can until they're dead. Hope you appreciate my highly accurate shooting. It's a sight to behold. And then with the big guy, it's really all about emptying the entire clip as fast as you can into him, especially on his tanks so they explode, and hopefully you kill him before he kills you, which you should. It's not very difficult. We do this landmark because it drops a lot of good gear, purple gear, and we want as much purple gear as we can before we head into the DZ. We don't need it all purple, but we just want as much as we can. So yeah, we hit his tanks, he explodes, takes a bit of damage, and we just keep doing that until he's finally down. So at this point I was injured and cold, so I just run back upstairs. There's a fire we can ignite up here to warm up, which is useful and convenient. And then we head back down to deal with the last enemy and collect all the loot. So do check behind this gate because there's some gear pieces and other good loot, always. And we head inside to get the loot crate from the boss. This has normally got some good stuff in it. For me, it actually really didn't this run, but oh well. There's some tools there on the left of the escalator if you want those. When you come down here, stick to the left side of this hole in the floor because there's some bombs on the other side, so just stick to the left side. And then there is another bomb as you go down the ramp, which we're not going to do, so just avoid that bomb. But go in here because there's weapons and gear pieces in here which we're going to grab. That's it. We're done with landmarks, so head back out the same way we came in, this time sticking to the right, because when we came in it was the left. Back up the escalator.
Detecting lowering of core body temperature. Threat of hypothermia increased.
As I said earlier, I'm now going to head back to that same safe house that we just came from so I can craft the virus filter that I forgot to create. You may want to head back here anyway to create, dismantle and create things that you feel like you might need. If you didn't do it the first time, it's close anyway, so we're just going to pop back in here and create what we need. You don't need to create the advanced filter. You're welcome to if you want to, of course, but you only need the basic filter for the run that I'm doing. Okay, it's time to head to the DC, so we're just going to run along some roads until we get there. On the way, we're going to pick up some more loot. As you can see now, we're at minus 16 degrees protection, so we're pretty close to the minus 22 that we need. We need another 6 degrees of protection. I'm going to make the close to get us to that extra 6 degrees, and we're going to do that in the last safe house with some Div Tech. These enemies are always here, so just take some cover and mow them down with your purple LMG. Swing to the left, and that marker is the DZ we're heading to. But on the way, there's a bunch of weapon parts we're going to pick up. First of which is here. Now we're just going to run straight. There's a whole bunch of enemies in this area that's coming up, and I'm sure the game wants us to fight them. Well, we're not going to. We're just going to run straight through them. They won't even know we're there 9 times out of 10. Sometimes they will, and they'll take a few shots, in which case, keep running. So sort of just stick to the middle-ish here, and then keep heading towards the DZ marker. And then there's 3 weapon parts we're going to pick up before we actually enter the DZ. And the first one's here. And here. And here. And that's it, guys. We made it to the DZ. So I'm going to swap maps now and restart back at 1 and do a zoomed in version of the DC. So here we are at the entrance to the DZ. And now where are we going first? We're going to go get our first Div Tech following this route. But on the way, we're going to pick up the first of our sealed caches and some more weapon parts. Remember, we need to extract with 100 of these over a course of many runs. And it would be my goal to always extract with at least 5 or 6 of these sealed caches each run. This is the first of the ones we're going to get on this run. This run guarantees you're going to get 5, assuming you kill the hunter. On this run, we actually get 6 and probably could have had more. So there is a little fight on the street. These enemies are always here. It's not very difficult, so I'm going to lay down my turret, which really doesn't do much, but I did it anyway. It makes me feel better. Get their attention, and then duck behind the car and let the mayhem ensue. This was a particularly stubborn last enemy, but as you can see, we got him eventually. No real danger to us. Okay, I just run over all their dead bodies to collect all their stuff that they dropped. Gonna head down that alley.
Alert. Infection temporarily stabilized.
So here's the second sealed cache. So this is number 2 for us. There are always a couple of enemies on the street back here, so we're just going to take them out. As you can see, they actually dropped a sealed cache, so that's the third sealed cache for us. That may not happen for you, but in actual fact, it probably will. You'll probably get one drop somewhere in a run that you do. So through the crate, up the ladder, and this is our first Div Tech. These Div Techs are hidden everywhere through the DZ, and the game wants you to go on a hunting mission to find a bunch of them. We're not going to, though. We need about 4 probably tops in any one of these runs, so I'm going to grab a few and that's it. And that was the first one. To the left there is a basketball court. That is a landmark with enemies in it. There's a Div Tech in there as well, but we're ignoring that. We are going to shoot into this building though and just grab some quick electronics and tools real quick. There's one quick set upstairs. We'll just go get those and then head back out the way we came. Remember, we've got a basketball court landmark over there with some Div Tech and other loot, but we're going to ignore that in this run. Now, the game wants you to go pick these antivirals up. It's part of the mission. But in this particular case, as I check the map, they're out of my way. I don't want to go that direction. Instead, we're just going to head to our next location, which is another Div Tech. We're still going to complete the run. We're still going to extract. We're still going to get enough points to get the master trophy. You don't need to pick them up. By all means, do pick them up if they're on the way. You get a free Div Tech there with them. But in this run, we're not going to. Turn left at the military trucks and head up the road. When you get to the corner with the vehicle here, there's another sealed cache here. It's always here. So this will be our 4th. Just be a little bit careful of the enemies. Again, we can fight them, but we don't want to. We don't need to, so we won't. And then head down the street to our next location of Div Tech. We're actually at the location, but those 3 enemies are blocking my route in, so we're just going to wait for them to leave. Again, I could shoot them and fight them, but we're not going to. We're just going to let them be and be nice and safe and boring. That's the rope we're actually going to climb to go get the Div Tech and then sneak in and sneak out. And now that they've turned away and started to move, we can head up there. Often the antivirals are right here in the box in front of us here. They weren't in this run, so run through this door and there's Div Tech right on the floor. We're just going to pick this up and then leave. There are enemies in here, so don't hang around. Pick up the Div Tech, turn around, go back down the rope. You'll be as safe as houses.
Drop in
Okay, back the way we came. Unfortunately, I ran into those two enemies. And again, I'm just running because that's what I do. I'm a runner. So where are we heading now? We're heading to our final safe house. We're going to make all the final equipment we need. Turn left at the intersection here. Someone's been here before me because there are normally weapon parts on the ground here, so pick them up if they're there for you. And coming up here is where we're going to extract from. That's where we're going to do our extraction, but not yet. We're going to run past it and go to that safe house first. As you can see, someone else has been here. There's been normally two enemies here. Whoever was here has killed them and left a sealed cache. I actually picked one up. This won't be here for you. It's a random drop. So that's 5 of 6 for us, and I haven't finished collecting all the sealed caches yet. There would normally be 2 enemies around this corner as well. So you'll kill those.
Evacuation helicopter approaching.
And there is another sealed cache here. So this is now 6 sealed caches for us. Remember though, 1 was a random drop, so we really should be at 5. And here's the safe house. Now straight ahead there and to the left, there is another Div Tech around the corner if you need it. I don't, so I'm not going to pick it up. There's a couple of enemies around the corner there. First of all, we need to make the flare gun, because you can't extract without that, so we're going to make that. And that should pop tools of the trade for you, because we've made the mask and the flare gun. Now I'm just going to start dismantling a bunch of stuff and making or upgrading my resources to gold where I can.
To go.
So turning my greens into blues. And then my blues into golds. Now we're going to make the M44, which is going to kill the hunter for us. We're done with our purple LMG. I'm not going to dismantle it. We'll keep it, but we won't be using it for the remainder of the run. And I always make a gold holster and then whatever other gold armor I can afford with the remaining fabrics and things that I've got.
Gonna put her down, nice and easy.
None of this is strictly necessary, but it helps protect you and it makes your gun stronger depending on what gears you're using. So it's worth making the gold items if you can, and if you've got some Div Tech or gold fabrics left. In this particular run, I'm going to use the fabrics and Div Tech to make enough cold protection clothes to get the cold protection trophy. But on most runs you wouldn't. Most runs you just make the armor.
10 seconds to evac.
So remember, we were already at minus 16, so we need to make a couple of clothing items that'll give us an extra 6 degrees of protection.
Lifting off now.
And since I was out of fabric, I'm just going to use Div Tech. I'm going to convert my Div Tech into gold fabric, and we'll use that to make the clothes. Now, unfortunately, because I'm an idiot, I make these clothes, but then I fail to remember to equip them to actually show you if it was minus 22 or not, but you get the idea. We were at minus 16. We would make a few more items of clothing here if we didn't find what we needed on the run to get to minus 22, and then we would have minus 22 and the trophy would pop. Now, the other trophy we need is to extract with master level points or higher. So that means getting 10,000 points on the extraction. Now, on a normal one of these runs, you'll get close to 10,000, but you probably won't exceed it because we aren't killing a lot of things and we're running away from fights. And in this particular run, I didn't even pick up the antivirals, which pings us as well. So if you need that mastery level to get that trophy, we're going to use the flare gun exploit, which is very simple. It involves us dropping the flare gun and picking it up, dropping the flare gun, picking it up, and in this case I do it like 4 times, I think. Each time you do it gives you 500 points, so if you do it 4 times you'll get 2,000 points added onto your score at the end, which will hopefully tip us over the 10,000 that we need. So go find the flare gun, hold R2 to share it or drop it, then exit the menu and pick it back up again. Again, you don't have to do this on every run, obviously. You only need to do it on that one run that you want to get that trophy popped. And it's not going to pop now. It's going to pop once we extract and we get enough points after the extraction.
Flare gun required for extraction is now detected. Flare gun required for extraction is now detected.
So now I'm just equipping the things that I crafted, making sure I'm wearing the best stuff that I've got. And then very important, make sure we now mod that M44 after we equip it. Specifically, we want to put the extended mag on. I know that sounds silly for this gun, but we want to go from 5 bullets to 7 because that can make the difference between killing the hunter quickly or not. And we want to put the scope on that we created earlier. All right, we're done. Let's get out of here. Now we are heading to our final location, the extraction. We ran past it before, it's very close. We're just going to run back to the street, back up the alley, and we'll be back at extraction. So as a reminder, we would normally have 4 guaranteed sealed caches at this point, and we would get a 5th guaranteed when we kill the hunter. In this particular run, we found 2 extra ones, so I'm already at 6. So when I kill the hunter, that'll be 7, and we can't even pick his up. Right, so that's extraction in front of us. And we're actually going to go up the building across the street. We're going to go up on top of this building, up that rope. But for now, we're just going to go to extraction, call the chopper, and then hightail it back to our safe point. I do drop my turret up here when we get up here, and I recommend you do the same. If the hunter ends up coming into this area, at least the turret will do a little bit of damage and tell you where he is. So we head up here and call the extraction. As you can see, someone's already extracted from here and left a bunch of stuff. Extraction called, so now we just run back down where we came, down that ladder. And now we're going to head up the rope So the hunter can't come to this building. He can still kill you in a millisecond with his magic guns, but he can't come here. So this makes this area quite good. Drop my support station. Need that because you're going to get hit quite a bit from the hunter. Now it's just a matter of finding him. And as you will soon see, I make a complete dog's breakfast of killing this hunter. I fail miserably to kill him for the longest time. Yet still, we eventually do kill him and we extract. So that gives you some feel for how much time you've really got here. There he is. So we almost kill him in one shot, but don't quite. Then miss the next shot, and he then gets away from us. And this is really where I really screw it up. I thought he was on that top of that roof area across there where I put the turret. And for the longest time, I kept looking for him there. He's actually one floor below on a balcony below that, and I don't see him for a little while. Note, you can throw a turret all the way across to that building, and I recommend you do if you've got a chance. If the turret lands across there, it'll do damage. If the hunter was actually on the same level as the turret, we'd be in good shape. At this point, I'm very confused. I don't know where the hunter is. Timers are ticking, but we still make it out. I throw a grenade across there in an effort to try and flush them out. Still didn't work.
Warning. Infection levels increasing.
Okay, and now I've figured out where he is, and I feel like a doofus, but we get there in the end.
30 seconds.
So he nearly takes me out here. Quick med kit, and then we finally get him. Done. One dead hunter. There's his sealed cache, which we can't even pick up because we've got too many on this run. You would normally pick his up though and get at least 5, possibly 6 in every run. And now it's just a matter of making it back to the chopper in time, and I do, even though I cut it about as fine as you can cut it, we still make it to the chopper, which gives you some feel for how lenient this really is in the end.
Before we're out of here. We're in the air and returning to base.
If this was your first extract, you will get the Born Survivor trophy for successfully extracting.
A lot of work left to do now that the storm is almost over. Don't make me get all sentimental on you, okay?
Now let's look at our score. And we did achieve master level, which means the trophy will pop for us. Without that flare gun exploit, we would have got a considerably less of a score, you know, perhaps 8,000, 9,000, something like that, because we didn't pick up the antivirals and we didn't kill all that many enemies. So do it the one time to get master, and then after that, who cares what your score is? It's about how much you extract with. And now it's just a matter of repeating this very consistent, low randomness run at least another 16 more times, probably more like 20 or 25 times, in order to get the total of 100 extracted items. And that's it, guys. Hopefully this video helps you with a consistent route that you can use over and over again and get closer and closer to those 100 extracted items. As usual, guys, if you've got any easy mode requests you want to make, drop them in the comments below, and I'll catch you next time.